Okay, so I'm going to go through another example that illustrates Bayes' rule, but in a somewhat more geometric way of looking at it. So let's look at the following, where our event A is now that a person likes Brussels sprouts, and B is that the person is an adult, or in other words, 18 or older. And then here I'm just, on the right here, I'm going to put a bar on the top here to say the opposite of whatever event is on the other. So bar B means not an adult, in other words, 18 or 17 or younger, and then bar here means does not like Brussels sprouts. And so let's look at this table here at the bottom. So the only combinations you can have is you either like Brussels sprouts or you don't, or you're an adult or you're not. There's no other way of looking at it. So you can create this table of all possibilities. And let's say we're looking at 100 people, 50 children and 50 adults. And we want to answer some questions about this. So we see here at the upper left, this is 40 people are both adults and like Brussels sprouts, whereas 10 don't like Brussels sprouts and are adults. 5 are children who like Brussels sprouts, and 45 of them are children who do not like Brussels sprouts. So let's see if we can ask a more nuanced question than this data shows us. What is the probability that you do not like Brussels sprouts given, or let's forget the not that way. So let's say, what is the probability that you like Brussels sprouts given that you're an adult? So clearly this is not 40 out of 100 because 50 of those people that we sampled are actually children. So this 40 doesn't, it's not 40 out of 100, it's really 40 out of 50. So the way to view this is, I'll use orange here, is since we have this given B here, what this really means is that we only look in this row of this matrix that we made. We completely ignore all these because they're not adults. So the way we compute this is, well, we see there's 40 people, 40 of those adults like Brussels sprouts, but then there's 40 plus 10 total adults, which is 0.8 or 80%. Similarly, let's see if we can answer the following question. So we didn't need to think, right? We know that Bayes' rule will tell us this, right? We have this formula, but intuitively, if you look at this table, this should give you the right answer. So that's why I'm just going to ignore this for now. I'll erase that. Even though it is true, let's just try to think about this in terms of this table. So let's go back. Let's do green for this one. So what is the probability now that we like Brussels sprouts given that we are not an adult? So here, not an adult means you're going to go just across this row of this matrix. And so we see that there are 5 children out of 5 plus 45 total children, which is 0.1 or 10%. Oh, gosh, sorry. So let's just go through everything for completion here. So let's do a different color. So let's do purple here. So now let's ask the question, what is the probability that I am an adult given that I like Brussels sprouts? So you can think about this really quickly. You can pause the video here if you want. Is this bigger than 50%, do you think? Just intuitively. So this is asking the question. So let's go back up. So A means we like Brussels sprouts. B means we're an adult. See if you can reason in your head why this is greater or less than 50% or equal to 50%. You can pause it here if you want. So here, we're going to, so given A, so we're given this information that we already know we're in this column here. So we're going to ignore everything else in the table. Our whole universe is only people who like Brussels sprouts at this point. Well, 40 of them are adults. But there's 40 plus 5 people who like them. So this is 40 over 45. I could have picked the number smarter here. So 40 over 45 is 8/9, which is 0.8 repeating, so 88.8%. So it's very likely that you're an adult if you like Brussels sprouts, which makes sense because most of the people who like Brussels sprouts happen to be adults. And then finally, let's choose, don't want to choose something too bright. Let's do pink. So then finally, another question we can ask is, what is the probability that we are a child, given that we don't like Brussels sprouts? So again, we're just looking at this pink column. This is 10 over 45 plus 10. And this is equal to 10 over 55. Which you can plug into a calculator. I could have picked the numbers better, but that's how you calculate that. And then you can even, so here you can also ask what's the probability. Let's go back to black just so that it's neutral. That way I don't confuse you guys. So here you can also ask the other question, what's the probability that your child, given that you like Brussels sprouts? Well, this is actually just going to be 1 minus the probability that you're an adult, given that you like Brussels sprouts. And so that will be roughly 11.2%, approximately equal 0.112, or 11.2%. And then you can, there's a few other combinations you can do if you like. But hopefully this idea of the information that you have is either A or not A, or B or not B. And the trick here is, well, if we know that I'm a child, I know that I'm restricting myself to just this column. So it's almost as if everybody else doesn't exist, because I already give that information to you. And similarly, if I tell you, oh, we know that given that you do like Brussels sprouts, what sort of questions do we want to ask? Well, everything else, the other column doesn't matter because I've given you the information already here. So this is just